Hello everybody, welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube and Twitch channels. It is Monday, so we are back with another coffee stream. And I've got two things for us to watch today. One of them being Friday's question period. And please, if you have any suggestions on videos you'd like me to watch this week, there's a Reddit thread, r/blindpress, you can go to and submit videos and articles that you might want me to cover. So please go do that. Please go follow that Reddit thread and post stuff in there. Because there's no House of Commons this week. Everybody's taking yet another break for the Easter break. They just had 2 weeks off because the Prime Minister was like, "Oh no, Brian Mulroney died. Quick, nobody come to work." So that happened, and now it's Easter. So again, nobody's at work. So we're going to cover Friday's question period today. And then the rest of the week we will be doing other videos, other things to react to. And we'll make it work. We will make it work. That's what we do here on the Coffeestream channel. So, and I'm hoping that Driving Ape is still here. And because I know he was working on the car. So because I'm not sure if my screen is shared. So I just want to make sure. So, what else? We've had a really cold freaking weekend. A really cold weekend. This week for the last week of March. It was fucking January temperatures. It was crazy. So that was fun. We mostly stayed inside for the most of the weekend. Kids were outside a little bit on the Saturday, but it was cold. But yeah, it's global warming though. It's a thing. And they're gonna try to tell you, oh well, locally it can still feel really cold. Well, okay, cool. Globally, the world is heating up, yet locally there are still really cold spots. Oh, okay. Sure. Oh, silly me. So, let's see here. What else can we do for an intro? I need to have cold opens planned better. I'm getting better at having stuff opened and ready to go for stream, but I'm still shitty at cold opens. So please forgive me. Let's see. And I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if the screen is shared. So that's the shitty part. I'm gonna keep it on solo cam for now, and I'll pop it to the first video. We're gonna react to an Abba and Preach video again. Apparently they found somebody who found squatters in her home, and she got arrested instead of the squatters. So that'll be interesting to listen to. Hopefully there's not too many visuals. And question period, luckily, I mean, the visuals help, but we'll see. We'll make it work. So here's the Abba and Preach video about this woman who found squatters in her home.
Have you seen the story in New York? There's a homeowner that inherited a house.
Sure.
And there was squatters in the house that took over the house. So she went in and they wouldn't let her in. Like it's her property, right? She inherited that property. But by the time she got there, she was trying to sell the house. They got in there.
Oh, okay, so this was an inherited property that I guess had been abandoned and she wanted to sell it. And by the time she was able to get access to the property, there were squatters in there.
And what she did, she changed the lock on there. Police was called, and there was a TV news crew that was there too. And there was a couple of people that was arrested. The homeowner got arrested because in New York, you are not allowed to cut the electricity, cut the appliances, or change the lock on people that are still living there.
But they're not paying rent. They're squatting. They're not, like, yeah, I get that if you have a landlord-tenant agreement, you shouldn't be allowed to cut the electricity or change the locks on people that are still living there. But if they're squatting...
So because she changed the lock, even though they're not paying rent or anything like that, she's not allowed by law. That's crazy.
That's insane. So they're protecting like squatters who take over people's property, basically. That's insane. I can't believe. What is New York doing? What is New York City freaking doing, man? Like, holy shit. Why do they insist on ruining their city for their civilians, their citizenry?
It got me.
Pull it up.
I don't know the law. Yeah, there's laws. You shouldn't be trying to steal my house. Yes, you are.
Oh, they're very New York.
A squatter standoff. A property owner confronts a group of people she says moved into her $1 million home in Queens, and our cameras were rolling as dozens of officers showed up.
Several people were taken away in handcuffs, and one of those arrested may surprise you.
Investigative reporter Dan.
May surprise you? May. Oh. Yeah, just may. You would not expect the homeowner to get arrested in trying to evict squatters from her house. Like, unless she committed bodily harm to the squatters.
Dan Krauth joins us now with more on what happened. Tell us, Dan.
Well, this is a very big growing problem. I received dozens of tips from viewers about this in just the past week. I went to do what I thought was going to be a routine interview. Instead...
Oh. Okay, so what is
we
this
capture
here?
what police and property owners are dealing with on a daily basis.
Oh, a daily basis. Even better. A daily basis, people are having to deal with this crap. That's insane. That is absolutely bonkers. That A, we have a homelessness crisis so bad that this is becoming a problem. And B, that people are just inhabiting obviously not, like, they're just taking over people's property. Like it's theirs. And it's insane. All of this is crazy. It's just going to show more of the breakdown that we're dealing with. Oh, wrong window. Okay.
I have video of you. Who are these people? Figure out the situation. But they're in my house, man. Relax. No.
To understand how this day ended,
We need the police right away.
with multiple...
You know how much, like, arrogance you have to be like, this is my house.
And it's not.
Yeah.
Like, I rent this place. I've lived here for 8 years. I don't think I'll ever say, this is my
house.
It's
Yeah.
actually not. You're renting a space.
Yes. And I'm keenly aware of it. My landlord reminds me every once in a blue moon, hey, if you don't do something to that backyard, I may have to start an eviction notice. Like, I'm keenly aware.
But then again, these people don't. This is not the situation.
No,
They're not even paying rent here. They've just taken over. They've just taken over somebody's property. And they're like, yeah, this isn't my house. Oh, well.
You're not even paying. The arrogance to just stand in front of...
Ain't that wild? Ain't that crazy, though? Yo, it got me fucked up.
I could tell. I don't see you react normal.
911 calls and arrests. We have to start at the beginning.
Adele, the hardest question is how do you say your name?
We met Adele Andaloro outside the home her parents left her in Flushing, Queens. She's in the process of selling.
So her parents left her this house in Queens, and I guess it's taken over by fucking squatters.
But she's been locked out. She claims squatters moved in on February 6th and refused to leave.
What's it like being here knowing you can't go inside of your own home?
It's enraging. It really is.
In New York, squatters have rights after 30 days.
By the time
Oh my god, 30 days? It only takes 30 days to claim squatters' rights in New York? That's crazy. How is that even a thing? How can that even be a thing? Squatters' rights after 30 days. That's ridiculous.
And they do their work and their job, we'll be well over the 30 days, and this man will have stolen my home. And now she's back.
Just after wrapping up our interview, a woman showed up.
What are you doing in the house? Are you renting this house? Why are
I'm
you
not
here?
renting this
The front
house.
door, saw our cameras, and took off.
It's open? Let's go in the house. It's open.
Adele and her daughter, with the property deed in hand, went inside.
This is my furniture. These are my curtains.
She didn't just find her
Oh my
belongings
God.
inside.
There's a man sleeping right there. Get out of my house.
She found two men.
How long have you lived
Oh,
here?
good. 2 men and a woman. All of the furnishings are still... This is not a vacant home. The furnishings are there. Like, everything is from her parents is still there. And they're just there.
They've called the police on me, and I've called the locksmiths. I didn't come in illegally. The door was open.
Police started interviewing neighbors and looking for documents.
Do you have something that shows that you've been here for more than 30 days?
They took the man who told me he had been renting for 2 days out in handcuffs.
Renting for 2 days, huh?
The other guy off the property.
Now you're afraid to come out.
I'm not coming out. This house is empty. This is my home. My locksmith is on the corner waiting to change my locks. And it's not fair. It's not fair that I, as the homeowner, should be having to go through this.
She's right. It's not fair. It is absolutely not fair. It was left to her in a will. The will was not contested. It was a legal will. The house is hers, and she wishes to sell the house, which she cannot do with squatters inside. Hi.
Why is your door open?
I need help screen sharing.
Go to 2.
I'm on 2.
Go to 3. I'm not dressed for this. I am not wearing pants. This is a problem of Streamlabs. This is not an accessible part of it is, but this is not even this really is not even. I have to do this on my streams too.
Oh.
This is the same fucking problem that everybody has because Streamlabs won't fix the screen share problem. So yeah, you're good.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool.
Okay. Now you guys can see what we're watching. So, we're going to back it up a little bit. I want you guys to actually see this.
And this man will...
Process of selling it.
No, he locked it.
But she's been locked out. She claims squatters moved in on February 6th and refused to leave.
What's it like being here knowing you can't go inside of your own home?
It's enraging. It really is.
In New York, squatters
The migrants are being taught how to use squatters' rights to get free housing.
We'll be well over the 30 days, and this man will have stolen my home. And now she's back.
Just after wrapping up our interview, a woman showed up.
What are you doing in the house? Are you renting this house?
I'm not
Why are you
renting
here?
this
She
house.
unlocked
She's
the front door,
obviously.
saw our cameras and took off.
It's open. Let's go in the house. It's open.
Adele and her daughter, with the property deed in hand, went inside.
So this
This is
is.
my furniture.
I wonder
This is
what
my-
they've done to the house. Now that you guys can see it, I wonder what the house looks like.
Curtains.
She didn't just find her belongings inside.
There's a man sleeping right there. Get out of my house.
She found 2 men.
How long have you lived here?
I moved in about 2 days ago.
They've called the
2
police on
days
me,
ago.
and I've called the locksmith.
That's before 30 days. He doesn't have squatter's rights. He can get the fuck out.
I didn't come in illegally. The door was open.
Police started interviewing neighbors and looking for documents.
Do you have something that shows that you've been here for more than 30 days?
They took the man who told me he had been renting for 2 days out in handcuffs
They got
Good.
one out.
and escorted the other guy off the property.
Now you're afraid to come out.
I'm not coming out. This house is empty. This is my home. My locksmith is on the corner waiting to change my locks. And that's not fair. It's not fair that I, as the homeowner, should be having to go through this.
She's correct.
Minutes later, a locksmith showed up, but police gave her a warning before they left.
I may end up in handcuffs today if this man shows up here and says that I have illegally evicted him. I said to them, let him take me to court the way I've been told to take him to court.
Yep. That exactly. Fight it in court. Fight it in court. If he really thinks this is a problem, he can fight it in court.
Today, I'm not leaving my house.
Less than 10 minutes after police left and the locks were changed, the man who claims to be the one actually leasing the house shows up.
Call the police again.
With the other guy, police took off the property.
Do you see this? This guy just literally broke down my door.
Wow.
Broke through myself and my daughter to get.
Shows up
Call the police.
10 minutes after police left and the locks were changed.
See, he just bashed in. He just bashed
The
in.
man who claims to be the one actually
This is
leasing
crazy.
the house shows up.
Call the police again.
With the other guy, police took off the property.
Do you see
Where's
this?
your lease,
This guy just
bastard?
literally broke down my door. Broke through myself and my daughter to get in here. This guy just forced himself into my house. Yes, he did. And so did you. You broke through the front door.
The man called the police on her.
So why is it that I have to leave and he doesn't have to leave?
Because technically he can't be kicked out. We need to go to court.
They consider this a
What
landlord-tenant
the
issue,
fuck?
and by law it has to be handled through the
Landlord
housing court,
tenant?
not with police.
There's no lease. There is no lease. How is this landlord tenant? What the fuck? What the fuck? This is insane. How in the hell is this even allowed? How is this constitutional? How is the rights of another person being infringed to protect somebody else's rights a constitutional?
If you own this house, you would not want her inside.
Because of a stupid bullshit common law thing that exists in the States too, that after a certain amount of time, they're automatically tenants.
Like 30 days in New York.
Yeah, it's like 30 days here too.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
30 days is nothing.
Yeah, they make it so people don't want to travel now. Because if you go on vacation, it can happen to you. It's just like that Simpsons episode.
Well, technically, every month I'm supposed to log into the ODSP thing and verify that we haven't left the province for more than a month. Otherwise, I could lose my benefits. Because I could technically be taking benefits from another province. After a month. Because that's how that process totally works.
Well, we found out we were common law after 90 days.
Yeah.
So, what does that tell you? And that you have every right of the you have all the requirements of a married couple, but none of the rights.
None of the rights and benefits, but all of the responsibilities and requirements. Yeah.
All right, we're good going. I didn't realize how late it was.
I don't own it.
Exactly,
Yes.
she does.
Yes, but then once again, you should know how the law works.
I do know how it works.
There's rules to the as you got to go to court and send me to civil court.
He says he signed a
Wow.
lease in October, but wouldn't tell us with who.
Yeah, he wouldn't. He probably didn't have a lease either.
Longer than that.
Show us the proof.
But who are you for me to show? I showed it to cops.
Dan with Channel 7 News. If you don't want to show it, you don't want to show it.
Cool. Come here, brother. I like that.
I would like to see it.
He didn't show me a lease.
This is a bill.
A bill for work he says he had done to the house.
That's not a lease. That is not a lease at all. That doesn't count for anything. That just shows that you worked on the house.
He didn't show police a lease either.
The police department doesn't have the lease?
No.
He's got no documentation.
Just bills.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
Being arrested.
For what?
For being in my own home.
And where's your lease?
She's fighting the house. It's not her house anymore.
My deed is current and legal.
Arrested for
My deed is current and legal. And this guy's like, she doesn't have a lease. She's fighting the house. It's not her house anymore. You don't have a lease either, asshole. Holy fuck. You don't have a fucking... Oh my god, you have nothing. This is awful. This poor woman. This is... All she wants to do is clear out her parents' stuff and sell the house. That's all she wants to do. And these assholes won't let her do it.
Eviction. She changed the locks on a man who claims he lives there.
So how does this all end then? When do you leave?
The way it ends is either she pays me my money that I put into the house, pay me the money, and I'll leave.
She pays me the money I put into the house and I'll leave.
It's that simple.
It's not that simple. It's a long process. Evictions can take close to 2 years to complete.
Jesus Christ. 2 years. 2 years. These laws favor people who don't feel that they should pay their rent. They don't feel that they should do anything legal. These laws favor these people. These laws favor the people who say that every landlord is a crook and every landlord deserves to be fucked over. And this woman isn't even a landlord. She's just trying to sell what she thought was an empty house. And that's even worse. Like, and she's first of all, she's got to grieve the death of her parents. Then she's got to empty out the house and you know, figure out what's memories that she wants to keep and what she'd like to sell. And then she's got to do all that process. But then she's got to deal with like these transient people in her house.
I'll say it, man. America is a broken country.
Yep.
Because they got this issue all up and down America. And some of you guys be like, well, not my state. And it is possible. Like I said, that in some states it's not. I've heard of something called squatter hunters.
What?
There's like people whose job
Squatter hunters? Holy shit.
And I'll be honest with you, me personally, like, I'm so over this kind of shit. I'm like, put him in front of a firing squad.
Oh my.
But I'm kind of with them on that. Like, even before being a homeowner, like, as somebody who always paid rent, these people pissed me off. But now that Pink Hollow and I actually own our home, it's even worse. Like, it drives me crazy just to think about this shit. If anybody tried this shit, I would lose my shit. I agree with him. Put him in front of a firing squad. 'Cause either, like, if you're gonna expend this much energy staying in a home that's not yours, you can expend this much energy in finding a fucking job and paying rent somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, fuck.
Put him in front of a firing squad. It is already hard enough to get a home. People get their homes and you just take over. Put him in front of a firing squad, my G. I don't care. I'm so sick of these leeches, bro. Remember that? Like, there's something so like, think about it. This is why I'm saying a home is everything.
Yeah.
You take someone's home away. When you break in, you take away the safety of their home. You take away their sense of home. When you do burglaries, home invasions, when you financially scam people out of a home, that's horrible, right?
Yeah.
The importance of a home in someone's life is paramount.
The home, like, even if you're renting a home and you get scammed out of your rent, it is devastating, right? Like, the home is, I would say, probably the most basic thing that you could need besides air, food, and water, right? Intrinsically, humans are animals, and every animal needs a nest, right? Every animal needs a place to live. I hate to break it down so scientifically, but we are still animals. We need a nest. Humans, just because, like, on all we do is we build incredibly elaborate nests. That's all we do. And also we pay other humans to build our own. We don't build our own nests anymore. We pay other people to build our nests for us. That's the only difference between us and other animals. They ruin everything and have no consequences. It's been an issue for the entirety of human existence. Yep. It's true.
At least for me, it's always been like that. And for my mom, she worked her whole life to get a home. To think people could just walk in,
mine now,
the door, say, I've been here for months, and now I got to go through a 2-year legal process for a home I spent my whole life going. Put them in front of a firing squad.
This might
Yay.
I'm with you.
I have a lot of patience.
Oh.
Squatters are disgusting leeches, and
Yep.
I don't care if they get wiped off the face of the earth.
And you know what's funny? I say this as my family's cottage is squatting on crown land. But still, it's if you take over somebody's home, you are awful. You are an absolute leech. And as I said, if you're gonna expend that much energy to stay in a home that isn't even yours and you didn't pay into and do anything with, then you can expend that much energy into finding a job and your own place to live. That's simple.
I mean that with every fiber of my soul. I don't care who says it, who has a problem with it. I will never take that back. Go ahead.
What do you want me to go ahead on? That is.
What do you want me to go ahead on?
This is me. This is also me being beside myself. It's crazy.
It is.
Oh, remember when we was in Detroit and it was neighbors that were putting boards on their neighbor's house?
What? Wait, what?
Oh, remember when we was in Detroit and it was neighbors that were putting boards on their neighbor's house that got people left, but they don't want squatters there because it becomes very dangerous for their kids. Same thing with the kids.
Wow.
I understand now.
So neighbors were boarding up other people's houses who had moved away to keep squatters from coming in and making it unsafe for their kids. That's crazy. That's insane. But of course it would happen in Detroit, though.
I understand why you're going to board up your neighbor's house for people not to get in there, and then it becomes a whole safety issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yo!
Well, guys, think about the kind of people who squat.
Yeah.
They're generally drug addicts.
Yep.
And criminals.
Yep. You
That
don't
is generally
see...
the people who do the squatting.
You do not see a person that holds down a job. Like, even the homeless people that hold down jobs, right? They will live in their car before they will squat, right? Because they have some integrity left. They may not have a home left, but they still have a job. They're trying to make it work. They're living in their car till they can figure it out. These assholes don't have any integrity or any moral compass. They're just like, oh, look, a house, mine now.
Okay? Because most self-respecting citizens are not interested in doing stuff like this and going through this process. All right? So you own a home beside somebody like that. What do you think that kind of energy attracts? More people come there to do dope. More people there come there to do drugs. And then what ends up happening? Fighting, drug deals, gunfire, all.
Actually, I have to remember it wasn't Crown land until a Crown deemed it was Crown land. It was always a farmer's fence land when it was bought. Oh, yeah. That's right.
All these things. You don't want that in your neighborhood. Nobody wants that.
No, that's...
And here's another thing. You can't even blame the cops.
No, because
they have a law to enforce.
They do.
The problem is the laws that are in place and our politicians that do so little to change them.
That is true. The police have to enforce the law. That's their job. The police are not judges. They cannot write decisions on law. So they have to follow whatever current law is on the books. Like the amount of Canadian police before weed was legal that thought that weed should be legal, and that they really, like, unless it was like massive amounts and it was obvious that they were dealing it, they really didn't want to deal with the paperwork because they also thought it was a stupid law, but they still had to enforce it. They have to enforce this law, and it sucks. It's the politicians and higher up judges that write law that need to fix this.
You have to understand that the cops are not there to think. They're there to apply.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. And it's not even like, yeah, I'm going to get in shit if I don't arrest this person because I'm supposed to do my... That's crazy. Is the law that's in place? That's fucked up.
And it's not just New York. This happens all up and down across the states.
Yep.
There's people whose job it is to just get rid of these squatters. It's crazy to me. And you know how they do it? They wait for the squatter to leave the home. Then they break in through one of the windows.
And they squat.
They change the locks. They get all the furniture while they're gone. And then that's what they do.
And they squat. They squat
themselves.
Squat the squatters.
Wow.
They squat the squatters out and then, yeah.
That's crazy. Squatting out the squatters. Squatting out the squatters. Wow. That's crazy. Fuck, man. Oh, yeah? You're gonna squat? Well, I'll squat where you're squatting.
It's broken. I'm sorry. This shit's broken. It's too hard to get a home. And to think these people get it this quickly and the law somehow on their side is disgusting to me. Look at the last guy. He didn't even have a lease. He just claimed he was there for more. That means the other two guys who either got arrested or kicked out, all they had to do was say they've been there for more than 30 days and the cops can do nothing. They don't need any kind of proof to show the cops. That's it.
All the guy that said he'd been renting there since October had was a fucking bill. That's not a lease, and he's still got this woman arrested.
Now look, I'm not somebody who loves landlords.
Yeah, it's actually funny how he does that.
What?
I don't think they're going to explain it, so I will real quick. What this guy does is he gets a legal lease from the owners of the property and basically breaks in.
Oh.
And then he sits there and makes them very uncomfortable. Like, it would be like me I would do that, and then just like you just kind of sit there, you walk around the house naked.
That's funny.
You make breakfast naked. You just do everything to make these people incredibly uncomfortable to where they either get violent and hurt you, so then get the police involved and get them charged with trespassing and assault.
Yeah.
Because then they have to get arrested, then they're out anyway.
Yeah.
Then that person, then as soon as they leave, can also take all the stuff and out to the front lawn, just like get it the fuck out.
Yeah.
Or the people will just leave, which usually is what happens. Because he just kind of stands his ground and goes, nope.
That's funny. That's very funny.
At least that's the story I heard of how this guy does it.
What did you send me?
A story kind of related to crime.
Okay.
It's what people in Toronto are doing to stop the car thefts themselves.
Oh, because the police just said to leave your keys at your front door?
Oh, that was great. Did you cover that yet? I couldn't find an article that wasn't shit.
No, neither could I.
Yeah. But yeah, essentially that's what he said. and it won't name it, and I'm really hoping it wasn't who I think it is. I'm really hoping it wasn't. I don't think so, though. I think it was someone from, like, 40th or something. But, yeah. So, yeah. They said, but this is, yeah, it's just a quick little thing.
Okay.
They're doing. I didn't do any research to look anything up, because you got QP today to catch up on, so.
Yeah. All right. Let's finish this.
I'm not somebody's on the side of landlords for most issues, but this is one that is clearly fucking disgusting. Okay.
That's crazy.
That is disgusting.
There's no other word to just describe
No, there's
how
not.
crazy this is.
Yeah. Beyond even that, like we're hearing about, like, oh, the parents died and they're giving that. There's people who go on vacation for 2 weeks and come back and find somebody squatting in their home.
Yep.
That is even worse. Just the going on vacation, come back, find somebody squatting in your fucking house. Like, dude, it's obviously not abandoned. There's shit here. The door is locked.
They don't care. There's houses in Toronto. There's houses in Toronto that are fully furnished, that are completely abandoned.
Yeah, but there's still, like, you can
No, like, they're in droves. Like, hundreds of them. It's insane. They're mega mansions and shit.
And why is the city not just buying them up and repurposing them for SROs?
Violation of rights.
How is that a violation of rights? They have abandoned the property.
The taxes are still being paid, and they can't do anything. They have to wait till the taxes reach a certain threshold.
That's retarded.
Yep.
And it's over. Do you understand how insane that is? You go on vacation, you come back, and your home is no longer yours.
That would drive me out the lunch. That would drive me
like,
insane.
No, I got all the legal papers right here.
What?
Trailer parks.
Trailer parks?
Because sometimes the trailers will lay empty for rent for months or a couple of years at a time.
Yeah.
And they're at, like, the back of the lot.
Yeah.
And it would be like the guys living in the shed back there. They'll just take advantage of that situation. It's like when I came here the first time, and the windows were open, and I noticed it looked like people had climbed in. Same kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I had to, like, do house clearing for, like, the first 2 weeks I was here.
Yeah.
So that's fun to do.
Make your presence known.
Yeah. And then basically just remind myself of the olden days. So, but yeah, this is almost over. But yeah, Abba and Breach had it pretty funny. They were the only ones that really had a cover on this.
Yeah, well, and this popped up in my recommend, so I just...
Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to these schmucks. And I mean, cover stuff that they don't like, you know what I mean? Like, you can argue with them.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll give them, maybe you could tag them as well. And then they can go, look at this blind bitch stealing her content!
This is my house. Nope.
Nope.
Now, this is why
I
prefer a lot of the red states. And like I prefer a lot of the red states, and I prefer a lot of their castle doctrine. I prefer a lot of that self-defense stuff. They seem to handle property issues a lot better.
Yes, they do.
Trespassers will be shut. Survivors will be shut again.
Let me look.
Survivors will be shot
in
again.
Texas, can make an adversary possession claim after possessing a property continuously for at least 10 years. Well, good luck.
It's 10 years.
Before that, it's criminal trespassing.
Good luck. 10 years? You got to fight a lot of motherfuckers.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on in New York. New York, was it 30 days?
Yep, 30 days.
30 days. 10 years versus 30 days. Let me see Florida.
And funny thing is, the 10 years in a state that everybody's having a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. 10 years you gotta wait and everybody's packing a gun. Good luck. Have fun squatting.
And the 30 days is 30 days is in New York where you can't.
Florida, it is 7 consecutive years.
Hey, Lord Famine, have a good day at work.
Can catch and remove a squatter long before the 7 years have passed. Anyway. Yeah, these
there's something recurring, right?
At any rate.
Is this pre-recorded?
Maybe
No.
we're wrong about this. Maybe you guys have more information. Let us know what you guys think about this topic.
Hello.
From me.
Hello, cameraman. Welcome to the stream. I am Blind Press. I'm glad you're here. Let's subscribe to the video and we will like the video. And yeah, welcome to the stream, cameraman. Welcome to the show. We're gonna quickly go to solo cam. And I'm gonna quickly pull up the thing that Pinkalo sent me. Yeah, I do a live stream every day at 10 a.m. here and on Twitch. And I also, oops, I opened the wrong thing. And I also play Mortal Kombat on Twitch only at every night. Direct messages. Yes, please. Okay. Let's see what this is about. Okay. So, let's see what this article is about. People are installing bollards in their driveways to protect their cars from thieves in Toronto. Amid the crisis, people are looking for more ways to prevent car thefts, with bollards becoming an increasingly popular option. That is insane. That is absolutely insane that people have to put bollards in their driveway to keep car thieves away. According to the Toronto Police Service's Major Crimes Indicators Dashboard, car thefts increased by 25.4% in 2022. Inspector Paul Rakoff described it as a dramatic surge in the city's auto theft crisis over the past few years, with the number of vehicles stolen this year already skyrocketing. Yeah, because there's no fucking punishment for these people. There's literally, they get caught, they get released. They don't even have proper house arrest. They can just go wherever. Some of these people are back stealing the same day. When you compare 2020 to 2023, we saw an increase of 54% in relation to auto theft, he told the National Post. That means 90,795 vehicles stolen in 2022 and 12,000. Oh, sorry. When I said the wrong number. That means 9,795 vehicles stolen in 2022 and 12,170 vehicles stolen in 2023. From the beginning of March, when compared to last year, we're seeing a 114% increase with 1,495 cars already stolen in 2024. And it's only March.
Ad reaction. Lord Famine moderator.
It's only March. This is insane. I can't.
Okay, I'm out of here. Things in the cup. Love you, bye.
Love you, bye. Amid the crisis, people are looking for more ways to prevent car thefts, with bollards becoming an increasingly popular option. Toronto resident Brad Lucas felt forced to invest in bollards last February after his white Ferrari after his white Ferrari GCT4 was nearly stolen out of his driveway. I had just gotten the car, he said. It was parked in the driveway. I had for about a week and a half. 2 people had attempted to carjack the vehicle twice in one morning, he said, failing to steal the car itself but damaging it in the process. Though this was the first time Lucas had experienced any form of attempt of auto theft, it was enough for him to begin looking for a long-term security system. Well, yeah. Your people are trying to steal your car from your driveway and trying to carjack you. Of course you're going to try to look for security, long-term security. This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. This is freaking, even in Toronto, this shouldn't be happening. This shit is out of, just completely out of the norm, even for Toronto. I had actually went and bought a parking boot, he said. It's kind of unsightly, but these guys, when they're trying to steal a car, they don't want to spend a lot of time mucking about. They just want to try breaking the window or doing what they need to do to get in. After using the parking boot for about 3 weeks, Lucas came across Ballard Boys GTA, a local bollard installation service. During the next 5 weeks, Lucas received a quote for the project, spoke with some of the organization's prior customers, and waited for the city to improve the installation. In the end, after about 10 hours of work, there were 3 retractable bollards bordering his driveway. So it's like a gate system that you can open and close when you drive in. Okay. The lovely thing about it is, when they're down, you don't know they're there, he said. It's inconspicuous during the day when they're dropped, but when I come home at night and I'm putting the car to bed, I pull them up. There's no way for anybody to be able to futz around to get the car around between the bollards because there's no way it would fit. Nice. With his new driveway installments, Lucas has retired his parking boot as it believes it would be redundant. Yeah. But that's crazy. That we actually have a company now that installs bollards, like instead of it being something that would be like a ritzy type of a thing, it's now becoming the norm for people to become or to have people install gateways and bollards in their driveway to keep people out. Achoy Ladrick, one of Ballard Boys GTA's co-founders, said their company has had a noticeable spike in demand for their services amid the city's auto theft epidemic. There's definitely been a growing demand over the past 3 years as problems have worsened, said Ladrick. The bollards themselves are becoming more normalized. It's been a growing demand from when we initially started. That is, it's good for their business, right? But it's a sad statement on the state of affairs in Canadian society right now, that we have to install these bollard things. Kind of their poles that go up and down inside of your driveway with a lock on top of them. Generally, it's not a cheap system. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, these, like, you would think these are for people that are normally well off and wealthy that would have these installed. But it looks like people that, it looks like these are becoming more normal. Ladrick said other car prevention devices can only prolong the inevitable, only buying extra time until these defenses are dismantled. Tags are getting removed and people install locks on wheels, but the wheel gets cut. They slide the lock off and then replace the wheel to sell it, he said. So, although there are a lot of alternative options, there's one option that definitely stops a car from getting stolen, which is a bollard, a physical barrier. Yeah, that's literally the only way to do it. You're basically gating your driveway. It's basically what you're doing with this. Brady Wilson, the owner of Got Concrete Incorporated, a concrete company that also installs bollards, said that 100% they are 100% preventative as a driveway, or a driveway preventative against carjackers. You have to come prepared with a bulldozer if you're going to take out a bollard, he said. Typically oh fuck, really? You have to come prepared with a bulldozer if you're going to take out a bollard, he said. Typically, once they see the bollards are there, there's no way they're going around it. According to Wilson, what makes a driveway bollard so effective is its inability to be disarmed or destroyed. That's true. It is literally a big fuck off barrier that there's no way, unless you have the ability to, like, unless you have the thing that moves it, the thing that carries it up and down or whatever, you're not getting in. You're not getting in at all. You don't pass go with a bollard, he said. Once they're up, they're locked, they're secured. You can't run them over, you can't push them over, you can't pull them out, you can't pick the lock. Toronto police also acknowledged that other theft prevention measures have limited effectiveness. Well, apparently so do you, Toronto police. You also apparently have limited effectiveness. The idea is to make it more difficult for a thief to steal a particular vehicle and move on to another one, said Rinkoff. But if a vehicle is targeted, meaning thieves have decided this particular vehicle is one that they wish to acquire and put significant effort into doing so, at some point, whatever defense mechanism selected can become less effective. Bollards continue to become more What we've noticed is that once somebody gets it done in their neighborhood, neighborhoods start inquiring, said Ladrick. It's becoming more normalized in that sense. That makes sense too. As if people are going to see that their neighbors are doing it, they don't want, like, they'll be like, okay, well, if one person's doing it, it won't look as unsightly as I thought, you know. As the demand for bollards increases, stupid refreshing, they are also becoming more advanced. When we first started using them, they were a utilitarian piece. Yellow metal coming out of the ground, said Wilson. Now they're stainless steel. They have LED lights. They have Wi-Fi. They're spring-mounted. They're hydraulic. Ooh, fancy. Rinkoff said people should also take extra precautions to ensure the safety of themselves and their vehicles. What, by leaving their keys at their front door so they don't get carjacked? It's like... Oh, you remember we were at the Grand River Flats and there was that weird metal pole in the middle of the trail that everyone kept driving over? It's like that. It's not a gate. Oh! Okay. All of those are lies? What? No. All of those are lies. Okay. Some other actions you can take in terms of securing your home is to have a strong front door that has multiple door locks and a strong street light or strobe light. Make sure your backyard gates and ground windows are secure. Do not post on social media when you will be out of town, he said. If you're able to take advantage of some theft prevention devices that are on the market, such as steering wheel locks and immobilizers, that may reduce the likelihood that your vehicle is stolen. Yes. Steering wheel locks and immobilizers. Yes. I'm sure that will do it. It will fix all the problem. It will totally reduce theft prevention. Nobody will just yank that shit off at all. It'll be fine. It'll be peachy keen. We're good. I can't believe the Toronto Police Service is so blasé about all this. It's ridiculous to me. They have, it's like they don't even care. They're like, oh yeah, there's a lot of car thefts. Oh well. Yeah, there's a lot of drug overdoses. Oh well. Yeah, there's a lot of violent crime. Oh well. Like, that's how it seems. That's how it feels. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure there are police that still care, but it just feels kind of like, oh well. Okay, I'm going to hit the be right back screen, go refill my coffee, and then we're going to tackle question period. So, I'll just be right back. Okay, we're back. And it's time for the main presentation. It's time for question period. Are you ready, kids? Here we go. Let's do this.
Questions and questions orales, oral questions. The honorable member, the honorable government official opposition whip.
Jesus Christ, who the hell are you? You're horrible.
Questions orales, oral questions. The honorable member, the honorable government official opposition whip.
In an act of political cowardice, the NDP and Liberals ignored 70% of Canadians and 7 out of 10 premiers last night, showing Canadians they don't care. They've abandoned the people they were elected to serve by voting to increase the carbon tax by 23% on April 1st. They're forcing families to pay higher prices for gas, groceries, and home heating. This at a time when food banks are shattering records. After 8 years, the Prime Minister isn't worth the cost. If the carbon tax is so popular, why won't he call a carbon tax election so Canadians can decide for themselves?
Because he's terrified. That's why. He knows he would lose. So he's not going to let it happen for as long as he possibly can.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Environment and Climate Change and the Minister of Sport and Physical Activity.
Really? The Honourable... Is this a day of the battling secretaries? We've got the Honourable Secretary to the Leader of the Opposition, and we've got the Secretary, the Parliamentary Secretary for the Minister of Environment, Sports and Physical Activities.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Canada Carbon Rebate is possible because we put a price on pollution, and that's what's driving down the emissions in Canada, Madam Speaker. Carbon pricing is working in Canada. It is driving down our emissions, and we're...
We have a problem. I don't know where I put my coffee. Oh, well, that sucks. I just went to refill my coffee, and there was no coffee left, so... I have no coffee.
Doing that while sending more money back to 8 out of 10 Canadian families with the Canada Carbon Rebate.
And you have no coffee, apparently. So we both have no coffee.
Money to go back to Canadian families. It's very clear who they work for. It's not Canadians. It's big oil and gas. Conservative hypocrisy at its finest, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Official Opposition Whip.
Well, this government is flailing, and their climate...
Oh, it's the whip. Okay.
In BC, the federally mandated carbon tax will raise $9 billion over 3 years and credit back only $3.5 billion. I know that NDP Liberal math is hard to understand, but that is a $5.5 billion net cost to British Columbians. 70%.
So where the fuck is that money going?
When will the Prime Minister
seriously
admit his carbon tax is just like him, not worth the cost, and let Canadians vote?
Check the counter, check my desk, and check on top of the cat house. All right.
Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I find it shameful that the Conservatives continue to use the affordability crisis and Canadians who are experiencing difficulty financially at home as a wedge against climate policy, Madam Speaker.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did you actually just say, how dare the Conservatives point out that we're having an affordability crisis as to why we should, like, rein back some climate change policies? You know, how dare the Conservatives want Canadians to be able to eat and work and survive and live long term so that they could possibly give a shit about the climate, you know, later on. You know, how very dare the Conservatives? Why can't they care about climate now? And, you know, throw more money at the carbon tax, because fighting carbon emissions is totally the way to fight climate change. It's not like everything on this planet, you know, is carbon-based. So you're literally fighting a losing battle at that point, because literally everything is a carbon emission. Should we all stop breathing? Because that's a carbon emission. I will be right back. I'm going to find the coffee. This is driving me crazy. Hold on.
Ad reaction. Chat ad pink arrow, the driving geek moderator. Check the counter. Ad reaction. Chat the chat message input.
Well, I'll find it later. It's not on the counter on Pink Hollow's desk or the cat house. So shit.
Madam Speaker, there simply is not one economist in Canada who has claimed or suggested that pricing carbon is what's driving inflation. In fact, Madam Speaker, over the last couple of years, as the price of pollution has gone up, so have the rebates, and inflation has come down.
Oh
That's
my
a negative
God.
relationship, Madam
Inflation has come down. Sure.
Speaker. The Canada carbon rebate is sending more money back to 8 out of 10 Canadian families. We're addressing climate change and the affordability crisis.
No, you're not.
The honourable official
You're
opposition
causing the affordability
Madam
crisis.
Speaker, what is shameful is that last year alone, this government paid consultants $21 billion, and now the RCMP
Jesus
is
Christ.
investigating them all again. Conservatives voted non-confidence and called for a carbon tax election so that British Columbians could axe the tax. The NDP leader and his member from South Okanagan, West Kootenay, voted to hike the carbon tax and keep this Prime Minister. Over 200,000 people in BC are using the food bank every month.
Jesus
Families are struggling,
Christ.
and the NDP leader and his 12 BC members are all hell-bent on hiking the tax. If he's so confident...
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Wow, they cut her off. They cut her off.
Pink Callow, the
That's
driving
insane.
The table, the air fryer, the shelf by my desk. Add Pink Callow, the driving geek moderator. The table, the air fryer, the shelf by my desk.
That's crazy. The freaking wow, they cut her off.
Speaker, I find it incredibly interesting that while Conservatives pretend to care about Canadians, we are actually working to implement.
Oh, who the fuck are
legislation
you,
and
and why
procedures to
are
bring
you
down
being so
prices
annoying?
Like food, grocery prices, internet fees, and Madam Speaker, all while we're working hard for Canadians. You know what conservative fake secret lobbying companies.
Fake secret lobbying companies? What?
All while we're working hard for Canadians, you know what conservative lobbyists are doing? They're creating fake secret lobbying companies to lobby the government while hiding from Canadians.
Wait.
That it's the same
Wait.
chief advisors.
Wait.
And what did they lobby for, Madam Speaker? Higher internet costs. The conservatives should
What?
be clean about who they're standing up.
Wait, okay. The conservative lobbyists are creating fake secret lobbying companies to lobby for higher internet prices.
Chat add Pink Callow, the driving geek moderator. Could be by where I put the bin under the thermostat. Button.
Okay.
Could be by where I put the bin under the thermos. Pink Palo, the driving moderator. The table.
You are fake secret lobbying companies. That is a thing that just came out of the mouth of an MP. Fake secret lobbying companies to lobby for higher internet prices. Okay. I'm gonna let this play for a minute and I'll be right back.
The Honourable Deputy Opposition House Leader. Madam Speaker, Quebecers are disappointed today. Disappointed there's no election to change this government because the Bloc voted to save this Prime Minister's career. The Bloc is bowing down to a Prime Minister who has invaded every area of Quebec jurisdiction, who's doubled the national debt, who has forced 800,000 Quebecers to line up for food banks every month. A vote for the Bloc will cost you. What did the Prime Minister promise the Bloc in order to save the Liberal government? The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yes, indeed, Canadians and Quebecers are struggling to pay the bills. But what we see is that the Conservative government is against the Canada Child Benefit that has reduced child poverty by 40% in my colleague's riding. They're against dental care, which is helping around 7,000 seniors in my colleague's riding. So it's surprising that the Conservatives are so hypocritical. They're voting against things like the Canada Child Benefit and dental care. The Honourable Deputy Opposition House Leader. Thank you, Madam Speaker. What's hypocritical on the Liberal side is to talk about big programs and ignore what's happening at food banks and in Quebec families who can't afford their groceries every week because they don't have enough money.
This is a bunch of bullshit.
The Liberal inflationary spending has increased the prices of everything. That's Liberal hypocrisy for you, Madam Speaker. And we...
Three-quarters of a tank of gas just cost me $90. Sit the fuck down.
Wonder why the Bloc has decided to save this Liberal government instead of voting for our motion to hold an election.
Yeah, why did the Bloc save the government if they're being fucked?
What is the deal between the Bloc and the Liberals?
That's a very good question.
As I said before, there are thousands of families in my colleagues' riding who've received the Canada Child Benefit.
So what? There's the love the children again. There's that stupid refrain. Don't you love the children? Why are they so creepy about kids? The fuck is wrong with them? I don't understand. Why do they have to be so creepy about children?
On average, and that has reduced poverty in parents and among parents and kids in every riding, and yet the Conservatives voted against the Canada Child Benefit. The honourable member for
what bullshit did you have in that bill? Because the Conservative Harper government put in place the Canada tax credit, the Canada Child Tax Credit, the CCTB, back in 2012, I think. Because I've been receiving it since my oldest was born, and the Conservatives were still in power when he was born. So why are you lying?
The federal government keeps on saying no to Quebec. This week there were signs of a slight openness to cooperation on immigration, but that only lasted 4 days. The minister just shut the door.
4 whole days. Wow.
In an interview with Le Devoir. No to the French language requirement for temporary workers. No to letting Quebec choose workers admitted through the International Mobility Program, and no to rapid progress on asylum seekers. Why can't this minister put aside his contempt for more than 4 days?
Oh, shit.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, post-pandemic, we had increased our immigration levels and businesses wouldn't have workers they need, and our economy is doing well. We recognize and need
Say that with any less confidence. Could you possibly do that? Listen.
To immigration levels with pressure from housing and infrastructure, which has we recognize this wouldn't have workers they need. Post-pandemic, we had increased our immigration levels and businesses wouldn't have workers they need, and our economy is doing well.
See how unconfident he sounds? Holy shit. That's crazy. Parenting benefits have existed for decades. Yep. And before that, it was the baby bonus, which our parents got. Yeah, the baby bonus still freaking exists. The baby bonus is what's going to take over this year for both kids. That's what the baby bonus just got lumped into the CCTV. Like, this is stupid.
We recognize and need the balance to immigration levels with pressure from housing and infrastructure, which has led to stabilize our immigration levels in 2026. We will continue to work with provinces and territories to plan for sustainable and strategic immigration while building homes that we need.
Could you have said that without reading any of that from your paper? At all? Like, seriously. He didn't say anything without looking at his paper. It was like a 6th grader giving his presentation who didn't memorize any of his presentation and was reading it from his paper while he was standing at the front of the classroom reading his paper. Like,
thank you.
The honourable member for Laurentides-Labelle. It's incredible. At this point, it's obviously an obsession. No to responsible immigration management. No to the right to opt out of new interference in healthcare. No to advance requests for MAID. No to the right to protect official secularism. And all these no's in just 5 short weeks
official
in Parliament.
Secularism, eh, Quebec? You gonna take down that giant fucking cross in the in the National Assembly, or does that get to stay up there?
The Liberals, supported by the NDP, and the silence of the Conservatives are attacking Quebec's ability to make its own choices.
The silence of the
Do they realize
Conservatives?
how wrong
Really?
They are if they think Quebecers.
The Conservatives have not been silent about this. What are you talking
Parliamentary
about?
Secretary. Madam Speaker, it's always interesting, and with all due respect to my colleague from the bloc, what they want is to squabble. Canada does not, and the government of Canada, we work closely with the Quebec government on health, on immigration, and even, Madam Speaker, when it comes to childcare. We looked at what Quebec was doing and extended it countrywide. We respect Quebec.
Oh, way to
commitment.
kiss
We always
ass.
work with Quebec, Madam Speaker.
Way to kiss ass.
Corporate greed is rampant at Bell Canada, and the Liberals are pouring money at Bell with no strings attached.
Of course they
Despite
are, because
massive
Bell
profits
is
of over $2
CBC.
billion, Bell keeps slashing jobs in journalism, hurting democracy, and abandoning workers. Bell's CEO slashed 6,000 jobs in the last 8 months and won't even show up to committee to be held accountable to Canadians who subsidize his profits. So when will the Liberals finally stand up for Canadians, rein in corporate greed, and protect journalism jobs in Canada?
They don't want to protect journalism jobs in Canada. Actual good journalism will expose all their nonsense. Actual good non-biased journalism is bad for the Liberal government.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Innovation, Science and Industry.
Madam Speaker, thank you for
Really?
the question from the honourable member. First off, I want to say our thoughts
Not the
are
Minister
with all
of
the
Heritage?
employees and their families who are affected by this difficult news. It's a competitive
Oh, your
industry
thoughts.
landscape,
Your
and
thoughts.
companies must continually invest and adapt. That being said, let's not forget this company has made over $2 billion in profits and is now cutting thousands of jobs. Clearly, some choices have been made, and our government will stand up to protect workers' rights. And
Made $2 billion in profits and they still chose to cut jobs. What the fuck? That's pathetic. That is absolute. Why? $2 billion in profit and you're still cutting jobs?
And we've shown that through various pieces of legislation in this House.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll always do that.
You've always been there for workers, haven't you?
Madam Speaker, as Canadians observe Ramadan and Easter this month, many are scrambling to put food on the table. Organizations like Feed Ottawa are working hard to make sure no one is left behind, but it shouldn't be up to them alone. The Conservatives refused to help when they voted against a school food program to feed kids.
Because we don't need a school food program. We need to be able to buy the groceries to feed our children ourselves. We don't need a fucking national slop bowl for our children. We need to be able to purchase the food that we want for our kids and make the choice of what to feed our kids and then put it in their lunch bags and teach them how to make their own choices and make their own lunches themselves and then let them go to school. That's what we need.
And the Liberals are way too busy protecting the profits of grocer CEOs. The NDP has been pushing for a national school food program to ensure no child goes hungry. Will the Liberals include it in the upcoming budget?
No.
Secretary
Please.
the Minister of Housing, Infrastructure and Communities.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The idea is not without merit, and I thank the honourable colleague for raising it here today. What we do focus on, I'm not going to talk about what could or what may or may not be in the budget, but what we do focus on is the well-being of Canadian families. What have we seen in recent years?
With the carbon
A massive
tax
decline
rebate.
in poverty throughout the country, and in particular,
A decline in poverty?
The government there during the pandemic, we were there for them, providing all
A
sorts of relief through
decline
emergency
in
programs.
poverty. I'm sorry, how many tent cities are there now? How many people with actual middle class, like $90,000 jobs are living in their fucking cars right now? How many people are still living with their parents in their 30s and 40s because they simply cannot afford rent even? But yes, poverty is declining. Yeah. Yep. Poverty is declining, and we can barely afford to feed and clothe ourselves and heat our homes and put gas in our cars. But yes, poverty is declining.
Where were the Conservatives? On the side of austerity, Madam Speaker. Was not there for
Because
Canadians.
we
They
need
continue to be
austerity
against Canadians,
right
and that
now.
way we will continue to be there for the country.
Member for Calgary Forest Lawn.
Be there for the country doesn't mean print money.
And his carbon tax scam, Calgary Food Bank usage skyrocketed 50%. Albertans pay $2,900 into this scam and only get $2,000 back. There's a really bad Liberal math joke in there that just doesn't add up. And yesterday, this costly coalition voted to hike the carbon tax 23% on April the 1st. Why is their obsession with the carbon tax more important than the 70% of Canadians who are telling them to spike the hike so they can feed their families?
Because they don't, because we're peasants.
Mr. Speaker, the fact of the matter is that Albertans have $700 more in their pockets every year because of the Canada carbon rebate. $700, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, what is important to note is that forest fires, floods, smoke.
I'll get the Honourable Minister to restart his question, just like I did a while ago with someone else who on that side. I want to remind members to please hold off on anything that they have to say unless they're being recognized. The Honourable Minister.
Madam Speaker, the truth of the matter is that Albertans get $700 a year more through the Canada carbon rebate. It's one of the highest amounts that anybody in the country gets back.
Yeah, because they pay some of the highest amount. That doesn't mean that they're not being screwed out of like another $900 a year.
Albertans want us to fight climate change. It's exactly
Dude, no, they don't.
We had forest fires, we've had floods, we've had wildfires. Madam Speaker,
yes, forest fires, floods, that shit happens.
Is the Conservatives
it always happens. It's always going to
That
happen
minister from Alberta should be ashamed of himself.
when
He's constantly ramming
the earth
this
is
prime
existing.
woke ideology down the throats of Albertans when he should be the voice of Alberta at the cabinet table. Why doesn't he stand with the majority of Albertans that say axe the tax and scrap this scam instead of standing with this corrupt prime minister?
Now, here's
It's a simple question for him. Does he have his job references lined up? Because after the next election, him and this carbon tax scam will be gone.
Damn! Damn. That's parliamentary, though. He said it through the speaker. He didn't call him any names or anything like that. But the thing is, here's the thing. This whole, like, they don't care about climate change. No matter how much money you take from taxpayers, okay, there are always going to be floods and wildfires and snowstorms and tornadoes and droughts and everything, because the earth is an active weather cycle. All right? It has a weather cycle. It has had a weather cycle since it was created. Okay? It will have a weather cycle until the sun expands to the point where it blowtorches the earth. Okay? That's what's going to happen. And it doesn't matter how much money you pour into your ridiculous system, that's just going to continue happening. And the fact that everybody goes, oh, carbon emissions. We are all carbon-based. This planet is nothing but carbon, for Christ's sakes. We have mostly carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, only 21% oxygen. We even have a little bit of nitrogen in our atmosphere. What we need to be worried about is the carbon monoxide, the sulfur dioxide, that stuff. That's the shit we need to worry about. And by the way, sulfur dioxide is also naturally occurring in volcanoes. What's 700 divided by 12? A whopping $59 a month. Yeah. A whole $60 a month. Ooh.
Madam Speaker, I'm glad to see that we've reached such a level of collegiality in this House that somehow the Conservatives think they can threaten my job with what residents in Alberta want, which is us to fight climate change. Madam Speaker,
oh, sure.
When there were floods in Calgary, when there were forest fires burning Fort McMurray, these people think it's a joke. It's not woke. They need to wake up. Climate change is real. $700 more in the pockets of
Oh,
Albertans.
fuck
That is
off.
real change. That's the Canada Carbon Rebate.
Yeah, yell. Go ahead and yell. You know what that minister sounds like? He sounds like Piglet. You remember the actor that voiced Piglet? And he played like a lawyer in a few TV shows, but he always sounded the exact same. You were just expecting him to go, oh, dear. That's who this minister sounds like. That's 15 a week or less if there are 5 weeks in the month. Yep.
The honourable member Barry Springwater or Ramadante.
Speaker, yesterday the NDP Liberal government voted to increase the carbon tax by 23%, making the cost of gas, groceries and home heating more expensive. In my community in January alone, the Barrie Food Bank saw over 7,000 individuals in need of food assistance, and they provided 540 emergency food hampers for individuals experiencing homelessness. This year,
wow.
1 million more Canadians than last year will be forced to go to food banks.
That'll make it almost 3 million people, by the way. Because Canada was at 1.5 million food bank uses last year. That'll put it up to 3 million. Or 2.5 million, sorry.
But the Prime Minister plans to quadruple his costly carbon tax anyway. Why is he ignoring 70% of Canadians and the 7 premiers who want to axe the tax?
Good question. Parliamentary Secretary, the Minister of Environment and Climate Change.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The affordability crisis that Canadians are feeling is real, and we need to have real solutions.
Oh, yeah, it is real, yes.
Rebate, which sends more
oh,
money
my
back
God.
to 8 out of 10 Canadian families.
Do they think that saying this over and over again is going to convince us Or are they just trying to convince themselves that they're giving us more money back than they actually are, and that this carbon tax thing is not causing a big portion of the affordability crisis? I was gonna say sounds like Larry David. Is that who the Piglet actor is? Is that Larry David?
But for the Conservatives to use the words of food banks and food rescue organizations, food security organizations, and poverty experts continually in this House, none of those experts, none of those economists or those charities suggest that ditching our environmental plan and axing the tax would help Canadians. Absolutely.
Have you asked them?
That, Madam Speaker. So if the Conservatives want to continue to use the words of the food banks, they ought to read their reports.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is a member of the government that just tried to bury a bunch of reports suggesting that somebody else try to read a report? Okay, that's rich. That's super rich. Cool. Good on you, Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Speaker. I have the numbers right here from the province of Ontario, where the member opposite and I both live. In the province of Ontario, the average family pays $1,674 and receives a rebate of $1,047. That leaves them $627 they're paying extra.
Yep.
Those facts just aren't accurate. After 8 years, farmers in my community are struggling, and they know that the Prime Minister and his carbon tax coalition are not worth the cost. A poultry farmer in my riding's gas bill is almost $10,000 a month.
Holy
shit! The carbon tax.
10 grand a month for a poultry farm. For the gas bill. $10,000 a month. Oh my God. That is $120,000 a year in fuel. That's just fuel to operate the farm. That's not counting the feed for the poultry, which he pays carbon tax on to have shipped to him, by the way. That's not counting shipment of his product outward to other stores, which he's going to pay the carbon tax on also. That's like, oh my God. That's insane.
This will only get worse when the Prime Minister increases his carbon tax by 23% on April 1st. If the Prime Minister refuses to axe the tax, why won't he let Canadians...
No, Parliamentary Secretary?
Wow, they cut him off again. They keep cutting off Conservatives.
What the parliamentary budget officer said is that he's distressed with the selective use of facts from these reports. What he said very clearly yesterday was that the consensus of economists is that carbon taxes are the least interruptive way to reduce emissions. He added, it is true that the carbon tax is often seen by many economists as the least disruptive and probably the most cost-effective way of reaching certain levels of carbon emissions. The PBO report deserves better than these conservatives.
Okay, that doesn't mean that it's a good thing. He just said it's the most cost-effective way to achieve your goal. He didn't say it was a good thing for the country. Like, yeah, you know what? Child labor is also the most cost-effective way of producing a lot of products at a very low rate of turnover, or a high rate of turnover. Does that mean it's a good thing? What the fuck? What the fuck? It's really cost effective. Okay, that doesn't mean it's good. Cheap and unregulated labor is also cost effective. Is it good?
Using selective numbers to try to peddle their climate change denial narrative.
The Honourable Member for Yorkton Melville.
Pinkalo, the driving aid moderator. He will pay it through the fuel surcharge of the trucking company.
He will pay it through the fuel surcharge of the trucking company. Yep.
I need the heaters in the winter.
I need the heaters in the winter.
I was going to say
Bill.
Thank you, Speaker. This NDP Liberal government voted to increase the carbon tax by 23%.
Oh, she sounds like a grandma.
Making the cost of groceries gas and home heating even more expensive. This Prime Minister is not worth the cost, as he will raise the carbon tax to $2,618 in Saskatchewan. Why are they ignoring 70% of Canadians and 7 of our best premiers who want to axe the tax?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, once again, Conservatives stand in this place and talk about affordability measures. Meanwhile, their own chief lobbyist for the leader of the official opposition.
The chief lobbyist, eh? The chief lobbyist for the leader of the opposition. Did he also create a fake secret lobbying company?
Is also lobbying on behalf of big grocers to not sign our code of conduct.
Okay, I'm sorry. How many liberal lobbyists are there?
Affordability measures to Canadians. While Conservatives talk a good talk, behind the scenes they're there to help their wealthy, connected insider friends.
The Honourable Member Yorkton Melville.
Madam Speaker, last year alone, the Prime Minister paid consultants $21 billion, and now the RCMP has multiple investigations into these Liberal contracts. On the carbon tax, I would love nothing more than to watch this member face to face with the good people of Yorkton Melville and try to explain to them why they are paying $525 more in carbon taxes after the rebate this year. Why do they continue to ignore 70% of Canadians?
Good job. Good job. She may sound like a grandma, but she's holding her own against this dumbass moron.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, I'm glad the member opposite brought up the use of consultants, because what happened the day after the 8th leader of the Conservative Party, the current leader of the official opposition, came into power? The very next day, their chief strategist created a secret lobbying company.
A fake secret lobbying company. Oh no! What conspiracy bullshit is this now? Really? The Liberals NDP are going on this fucking Alex Jones route? Fake lobbying companies, oh god.
That lobbying company then produced, they're yelling it's so secret we found out about it, Madam Speaker, not part of the plan, certainly.
Again, I'll get the Honourable Member to restart. I would ask members to please hold off on any comments or questions they have until they are being recognized. Order. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, I'll repeat, the Conservatives heckle out so secret we found out about it. Yeah, not to their surprise.
Weird cause I've got a short gale and Weston was like a car carrying little.
Weird because I've got a short Galen Weston was like a card carrying liberal.
Canadians now know exactly what they're doing behind the scenes. They say one thing to Canadians, which is that they're going to stand up for them. But Madam Speaker, what they actually do is they set up secret companies to lobby
secret fake lobbying companies.
Canadians' interests. Madam Speaker, you can't trust Conservatives because they're not in it for Canadians.
And you are? You can't trust Conservatives. You know what? You know why I trust them? Do you know why I trust them? Because Pierre Poilievre has never once said, you can trust me. He's just said, this is my plan. You know what the Liberals always say? You can trust me. So you know what I don't do? You know what I don't do? Trust them. Gotta Google that. Let's see. What should I Google here? What am I Googling? Let's see if there are any grocery lobbyists, because that's what she's saying. NDP, okay, from the CBC. From the CBC let's see this from CBC. What's the date on this? What's the date on this? NDP MPs call for investigation into lobbying firm with ties to top conservative advisor. Federal lobby group Forecheck Strategies works from same office as Jimmy Byrne, plus associates. So they work in the same office building. Two new Democrat MPs are asking the Federal Lobbying Commissioner to investigate what he calls potentially inappropriate lobbying activities by top conservative strategist Jenny Byrne.
Expand live chat. Up space.
I'm sorry. How many? How many lobbyists for Loblaws did the Liberals have? On Thursday, the Globe and Mail reported that a federal lobbying firm is located at the same office and employs many of the same staff as Jenny Byrne and Associates, a provincial lobbying firm. Wait, okay, so Jenny Byrne and Associates is a provincial lobbying firm. So they're already a lobbying firm. Okay? And this other lobbying firm works in the same fucking building. Oh my god. NDP MPs Charlie Angus and Matthew Green sent a letter to the commissioner calling for a probe on the relationship on the two firms. We are writing to you today regarding our concerns about potentially inappropriate lobbying activities by Jenny Byrne, they wrote in the letter. Given Ms. Byrne's advisory role and close relationship to Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre in the Conservative caucus, Canadians deserve clarity on her lobbying activities. Wow. Wow. That's... Although Byrne's exact role with the Conservative Party is murky, neither she nor the party will confirm how she is involved. She is viewed as one of the most powerful Conservative strategists in Canada. She has been seen walking to caucus meetings, spaces typically reserved for elected members, Conservative senators, and the most senior staff. Newly elected Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. Oh, sorry, that's a fake. Forecheck Strategies was incorporated the first business day after Pierre Poilievre was elected Conservative leader in September 2023. Okay. Okay. Then, so what? Additional questions about provincial lobbying. Oh, come on, Chrome. Chrome, why are you being a douche? Chrome froze. So, this Forecheck Strategies is headquartered in the same building as Jenny Byrne and Associates. And they became a business the day after Poilievre became the leader. So, how does this mean it's a secret conservative lobby grocery group? I don't understand the connection here. In addition to employing... Okay. Forecheck Strategies was... Oh, sorry. In addition to employing many of the same staff as Jenny Byrne and Associates, it is owned by Andrew... Sorry. It is owned by Andrew Kimber and Simon Jeffries, who are also part owners of Jenny Byrne and Associates. So they're invested in 2 lobbying groups. That's not illegal. That's not a thing. Some lobbyists listing as working for Check Strategies on the federal lobbying database are listed as employees on the website of Jenny Byrne and Associates, but not on the website of Check Strategies. There are other similarities between the 2 firms' websites. Check Strategies' website cited their CEO as being especially good at making messes go away, seemingly referencing a 2015 Globe and Mail post or profile of Jenny Byrne. The reference was removed from the company's website after an inquiry from CBC News. Kimber denies Byrne is involved in the firm. Yeah, like, why wouldn't 2 lobbying firms be in the same building? Check Strategies is a separate entity which Jenny Byrne has no involvement in. She is not and has never been an employee, consultant, director, or shareholder. She has not, and will not receive any compensation from Check, said Kimber in a statement sent to CBC News. Byrne did not respond to a request for comment, and the Lobbying Commission's office said it would not comment on the specific cases. I would suggest that we have a Conflict of Interest Act. We have a lobbying commissioner that sets very vigorous rules, and I expect everyone to follow those rules, Dan Albus, a Conservative member of Parliament, said Thursday. I'm sure Mr. Poilievre would be the first person to say that. He would. The office of the leader of the official opposition did not respond to a request for comment. Probably because he thinks this is a stupid story.
Delete. Ping Callow, the driving moderator. All it takes is the accusation and they will run with it on the floor.
All it takes is the accusation and they will run with it on the floor. Yep.
Ping Callow, the driving moderator. Secret conservative.
Like they're doing. But yeah, that's what they're talking about right now. They're talking about 2 lobbying firms that are headquartered in the same building.
The honourable member for Pierre Boucher, les Patriotes Verchères.
Oh, you suck as
Madam
a translator.
Speaker, not only are the feds meddling in Quebec's affairs, they now seem to want to meddle in municipal affairs. They just can't help themselves. Our cities are concerned that the gas tax program, which expired in December, will be renewed but with new strings attached. But it's simple. All they're asking for is that the program be renewed as is. Municipalities know what their residents need, and the program works. So is the government going to renew the Canada Community Building Fund without any additional conditions?
Nope. Fuck you.
The Honourable Minister. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Our government has been crystal clear on this issue. And our record is also
Your government has not been crystal clear on any issue. What the fuck are you talking
the
about?
Federal government and municipalities is very strong.
We will continue to engage with municipalities on infrastructure matters and related matters. I'm happy to discuss with that member further the specifics of his concern, but we see throughout the country that infrastructure support on a range of matters has been supported in record ways by this government, and that will continue.
Oh, in record ways, eh?
For Pierre Boucher, les Patriotes Verchères.
In record numbers, you've been supportive.
Housing, that's fine.
That's crazy.
Invest in
that they actually
programs.
say this with a straight
But they
goddamn
shouldn't
face.
put the money from the gas tax program that goes to the municipalities, that shouldn't be diverted into housing. This program is the program that works best for municipalities. taking the money from one and giving to the other would be like robbing Peter to pay Paul.
It is like robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's exactly what they're doing.
The time for the federal government to wade in with this bad idea of imposing new conditions with the gas tax program. The Honourable Minister. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I'm very happy to hear talk of cooperation and housing. That's precisely what we're doing with a $1.8 billion deal to support housing projects in Quebec.
Yeah, except you've just shown that if the provinces don't play ball and don't meet targets, you're not going to help them. So that's conditional.
It's the largest lump sum investment in housing in all of Quebec's history, and that's why I'm so proud of the result. We know there's still more and work to be done and more.
The largest investment in all of Quebec's history.
NDP Liberal government is about to raise the carbon tax by 23% on gas, groceries, and home heating, proving that after 8 years, this Prime Minister is not worth the cost. Per capita GDP is falling, and prices are rising.
And that's a huge
That
problem.
means Canadians are getting poorer while life gets more expensive. Only Conservatives have the courage to face Canadians in a carbon tax election. But if they won't call an election, will they at least listen to 7 premiers and 70% of Canadians and axe the tax?
No. They're not going to do anything. They don't give a fuck.
It's clear now why the Conservatives and Premier Daniel Smith are on this bumper sticker campaign. It's because Premier Daniel Smith is increasing the price of gas in Alberta by their full 13 cents on April 1st through their provincial tax. They just want to scapegoat the price on pollution for their own decisions.
Wow. I love that. You can't call out names of federal members of parliament, but you can name directly names of provincial premiers? Really? Hi, cannibalistic wizard.
You throw your shoes at the federal government while cranking up your own fuel tax on the same day. Not good, Madam Speaker. Not good. Conservative hypocrisy at its finest.
Wow.
Madam Speaker, Liberals are engaging in an orchestrated disinformation campaign.
They are.
To defend their destructive.
They are.
The report of the independent
they literally are.
Economic impacts. We estimate that most households will see a net loss.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Auditor General may have said that the carbon tax was the most cost-effective way to achieve what they needed to achieve, but he didn't say that it was economically viable. Like, cost-effective and economically viable don't always go together.
Unquote. In response, Liberals have deliberately excluded the PBO's economic impacts to artificially inflate their numbers. When will this Prime Minister end this blatant deception and finally axe the tax?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
It's incredible, Madam Speaker. That member from Edmonton is just here to do Premier Daniel Smith's work.
Stop! Wow! Daniel Smith should be writing a letter to the Parliament and be like, excuse me, why are you bandying my name about Parliament like that as a mudslinging tactic?
So that she can cover up her 13-cent a liter gas price hike.
Why do you think she has to raise the fucking gas price, you moron?
In this house and allow Premier Daniel Smith under the
Could it possibly be because you guys are raising the fucking federal carbon tax? So maybe she has to raise the provincial gas tax? Did you ever think of that?
Honourable member for Edmonton-Wetaskiwin, and I want to remind members to please keep the tone down.
Madam Speaker, you'll notice that member did not even try to answer my question. On page 3, the independent PBO states, quote, we incorporate estimates of the economic impact from the federal fuel charge into our calculation of net cost to provide a more complete picture of the overall impact on households. Taking into account that economic impact, the carbon tax clearly makes families in every province worse off. In Alberta next year, the report says that families will pay almost $1,000 more than they get back in rebates at a time when it costs more than ever for even the basics of life. How can any Alberta Liberal or NDP MP support this 23% tax increase?
And also, again, the reason that Alberta is hiking their gas is because of this federal carbon tax. They have to be able to pay it at the provincial level.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, what the PBO and the Auditor General said very clearly is that they're distressed with the selective use of facts from that report.
Yeah,
Madam
I'm
Speaker.
sure they
And
did.
what they also said is that the economic cost is important to look at because there is a price to climate change. Climate
Oh,
change
yeah.
cost the Canadian economy
Yeah.
over $2 billion
There's a
last
price
year,
to
and it's
climate
likely that it's going
change.
to cost more this year because of wildfires adjacent to that member's riding.
Wildfires set by people. How many of the wildfires did we figure out were arson last year? Like most of them?
It's atrocious that the Conservatives stand in this House and misuse the Parliamentary Budget Officer's report. What he said very clearly is the consensus of economists is that carbon taxes are the least interruptive way to reduce emissions, and that rebate sends 8
Yes.
to 10 families more money.
How do you reduce emissions with money? That's one thing that really bothers me. How does money reduce emissions? I don't get the correlation here. And probably the counter argument will be that the Liberal government is operating underneath the quiet tutelage of Kathleen Wynne.
The honourable member for Beauce.
Not wrong.
Madam Speaker, today is the last day for the Prime Minister to backtrack on his April Fool's joke, the carbon tax hike.
Not gonna
Canadians are struggling, but the
happen.
Bloc wants to radically increase the carbon tax, which will drive gas prices up by 20 cents a litre and have a huge impact on food prices. The Bloc is propping the Prime Minister up after he broke our immigration system, raised taxes, and doubled the national debt. What did the Prime Minister offer the Bloc in order to keep his government in power? The Honourable Minister.
I like that different members keep asking this question. That makes me happy. Use the money as a filter.
Madam Speaker, the price on carbon puts more money in the pockets of 8 out of 10 families. And that's because the revenues from the carbon
They keep
tax
saying
are
that,
returned
as if
to
they
Canadians.
think that
And that's
saying
why
that
middle
over and over
lower class
again will
families
make
are
it
getting
true.
more money in their pockets than the carbon price is taking out of them. What the Conservatives want to do is reward the big polluters and at the expense of the middle class and those working hard to join it.
People are worried. They will bear the brunt of the climate crisis. They deserve more of a say when it comes to tackling the climate emergency. A youth climate corps.
What climate emergency?
All while creating good paying jobs.
A youth climate corps?
More of a say when it comes to tackling the climate emergency. A youth climate corps would do just that, all while creating good paying jobs.
A youth climate corps. A paid youth climate corps. Yeah, that's what we need. Little climate Hitler youth running around. Jawohl! Das climate change is bad, yeah! Holy fuck! Like I said, they are proud of $15 or less a week. Yep. They are. And this is a hit. Really? The Hitler climate youth. That's what you want. The Hitler climate youth. Okay.
The Conservatives, they have no climate plan. No plan to protect young people's future. The United States are already doing this, but because the Liberals are
the United States already has a youth climate corps.
Will the Liberal government stop letting young people down and create a youth climate corps?
The United States has a youth climate corps. Can an American fact check this for me, please? Because even I don't think Joe Biden is that retarded.
Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I was proud to join the call with my colleague from Victoria, as well as the leader of the Green Party, to meet with youth across the country.
Holy shit, this is like that bullshit toxic organization. It's It's really going to be Captain fucking Planet. We want Captain Planet. Yeah, right? Yes, Captain Planet. Hi, Mr. Self-Destruction. What's up, dude? Oh my god, this is insane. They literally want the... Oh, this is pathetic.
Who are interested in fighting climate change, Madam Speaker. Notably, no conservative...
What are you gonna do?
With these youth.
How are you gonna fight climate change?
Madam Speaker, that kids across this country are concerned about the impact that we're having on our natural environment.
Yeah, 'cause you're scaring them. You're scaring the children. That's why they care. You're fucking terrifying them. My youngest actually said the other day, I'm afraid of global warming. And we had to teach him that that's not a thing to be afraid of because A, it's not really happening as badly as everybody says it is. And B, you can't stop it. The climate is going to change. You can't stop the climate from changing. If there is one, I'm gonna guess it's teacher made. Yeah, I don't think there's a federal youth climate corps the way that this person just talked about.
So we're employing more of them through the Canada Parks and Recreation Association's Green Jobs program, through Canada Summer Jobs, and through the Minister of the Environment and Climate Change is Youth Advisory Committee. Madam Speaker, we've got to do more to listen to youth. We've got 2 weeks back home, and I hope everybody will do a school visit. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
2 weeks? What the fuck?
Joe Biden is...
2 weeks from Friday. So this Friday, and then they won't be back. So we won't have any parliamentary shit to cover until 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, until the 8th of April. That's how we're gonna, so like I said, guys, go to r/blindpress, and if you find any videos or stuff that you want me to cover on the coffee stream for the next 2 weeks, drop them there. Because we won't have any canned poly for the next 2 weeks.
Everybody will do a school visit. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The honourable member for Timmins, James Bay.
Joe Biden has created a clean energy economy with 100,000 new jobs while this Liberal government continues to stumble.
Mommy, global warming is underneath my bed. Because they definitely cannot be original. Nope.
Not gonna lie, Mr. Self-Destruct on the weekend, or 60-year-old actually said them to me. But think Callow, the driving people is April 20th, ironically. But think Callow, MRR self-destruction. LOL, it sucks. Fucking fear mongers. But
it does suck. He actually said, I'm afraid of global warming on the weekend. It was
down to the mineral
sad.
Exploration tax credit program. You can't build a 21st century economy without metals, and those metals have to be found. So is this government going to outsource metal production to China or the horrific human rights abuses in Congo? Or will they support exploration in Canada, where we insist on good wages, Indigenous consent, and strong environmental standards?
No, fuck all that. That takes time. Just, time and money. So it's cost effective to go over to China, don't you know? And cost effective is good. It's always good. Like the carbon tax. It's cost effective.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of National Resources.
The Honourable for raising the question. Our government and the Canadian population, we've created 40,000 new jobs in February. As the member mentioned, the mineral exploration
That wasn't the
tax credit
question.
is important to support exploration companies, junior companies. We, as a government, for the first time in 2017, extended the mineral tax exploration credit for 5 years to provide certainty to the industry. We are working with the industry right now.
5 years from 2017 was 2022.
Shortly, but we're going to make sure that we support our critical minerals, we support the mining industry, and we support mineral exploration in this country.
Okay, but you can't mine without fossil fuels. So, why are you hiking up the carbon tax if you actually care about the mining industry? You see how all this is linked? Do you see yet?
This country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The honourable member for Winnipeg South Centre.
Madam Speaker, Africa is home to 5 of the top 10 fastest growing economies in the world. I'm proud of our government's investments to help businesses in my riding and across Canada reach new markets.
Yeah, suck the Liberal dick.
Earlier this year, the Canada-Africa Chamber of Business hosted the second Africa Business Conference in Kenya. Can the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of International Trade update this House on his recent attendance at the conference, the opportunities for the Canadian and African businesses to grow, and what that means for businesses in my riding of Winnipeg South Centre? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Parliamentary Secretary.
What kind of dick-sucking, self-serving bullshit was that?
And growing trade across Africa for Canadian businesses. It was a great success, which I know will help in collaboration and growing our industries. While in Nairobi,
what the fuck?
Canada is recognized among the leading aerospace industries in the world. Let's continue to build on this momentum and enhance our trade ties with Africa. As we know, this creates good-paying jobs right here and across the continent of Africa. Thank you to the members.
What countries in Africa? There are over 130, right?
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The honourable member Caribou Prince George.
I'm a dwarf and I'm digging a hole, diggy diggy.
Madam Speaker, yesterday the Bloc and NDP shamefully voted to save the Prime Minister.
You're hilarious, dude.
Instead, they voted in favor of a 23% tax hike on Canadians just 10 days from now. That's no April Fool's. And let's be clear, that vote wasn't about saving the environment, it was about saving their pension.
Yep.
After 8 years of this Liberal
Fact.
NDP government, Canadians are struggling more than ever. More
Canadians don't have a pension because of this shit.
Will the Prime Minister stop ignoring 70% of Canadians and 7 out of 10 premiers and axe his tax?
No.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Innovation, Science and Industry.
Well, Madam Speaker, I wish we could put a price on the methane coming out of the Conservative Party these days.
Oh, would you stop?
While our government is working hard to implement.
Is that seriously where you went? Fart jokes? You made a fart joke. You made a climate-related fart joke. Really? That's what, okay. That's where you go.
Challenges Conservatives oppose and obstruct every step of the way. The leader of the opposition, we find out, is being advised by Jenny Byrne, who also lobbies for Loblaws. And the day after he won his leadership campaign, with her help, she set up a shell company to start lobbying for
a shell company. So Forecheck Strategies is now a shell company for Jenny Byrne and Associates. Holy fuck. That's crazy. This is insane. This is, and also, how many liberal lobbyists are there for Loblaws?
What we learn now is that Jenny Byrne's senior VP.
The honourable member for Edmonton, Manic.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On the second anniversary of this NDP Liberal love affair, this nonsense government chooses to vote 23% hike on carbon tax, making the cost of gas, groceries, and home
he got cut off.
This will cost the average Albertans an extra $911 per year. This Prime Minister is not worth the cost. Why is he still ignoring the 70% of Canadians and the 7 premiers who want to spike the hike and axe the tax?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
So not only is Jenny Byrne lobbying for Loblaws and advising the leader of the opposition, she attends Conservative Party caucus meetings every week, and she set up a shell company to lobby, and her senior VP is lobbying the very office that she advises. Now, if that's not double...
How do you lobby an office? Wait, what? What kind of circular cat tail chasing bullshit is this? I don't get it. And this is why I say to Google shit. Yep, you are right. What kind of cat chasing its tail bullshit is this nonsense? Holy crap.
I'm not sure what is. I don't think, and I think all Canadians deserve some answers here, but let's stop the pretending. Whose corner are the Conservatives actually in?
Good question.
Oh, please.
The honourable member for Souris Moose Mountain.
Well, maybe someone will try and answer a question for a change.
Madam Speaker, seeding is fast approaching. Farmers are busy preparing equipment, seeders and trucks, purchasing fuel, fertilizer, seed, arranging families, workers, and their financing. And their situation has never been more desperate. The carbon tax has escalated their fears, and now with a 23% increase as of April 1st, it has only made their stress greater. With his inflationary spending, this Prime Minister and his NDP Liberal government is not worth the cost. Will this government spike the hike and axe the tax?
No.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Agriculture.
And I want to thank the Honourable Member for the question. The only party stalling 234 is their party. They keep putting up speakers.
Because 234 is...
Farmers need to rely on business risk management programs. We're the only party who've increased business risk management programs and their budgets by 25%, while the other side cut their budgets.
Because the...
Speaker, after 8 years, we know that this Liberal NDP government is just not worth the cost. And now on April 1st, the carbon tax is going up by 23%. We know that the Liberal NDP carbon tax scam only makes Canadians poorer. We also know that if you tax the farmer who grows the food and tax the truck driver who brings the food to the store and you tax the store that sells the food, Canadians can't afford food.
Yep.
When will the Liberal government see...
When will the Liberal government understand the supply chain?
Honourable Minister.
That's a good question.
Member of Parliament and the climate dinosaurs on that side of the House wake up. When will this Member of Parliament and the climate dinosaurs on that side of the House...
Climate dinosaurs. Climate dinosaur. Really? So first we had a climate-related fart joke. And now we have the term climate dinosaurs. Climate dinosaurs, secret fake lobbying groups, and fart jokes are all the Liberal Party can come up with.
Up to the fact that the planet is burning. He is from Northern Alberta. He knows what impact
the planet is burning. Hey, did you guys know that? Did you know the planet is burning? The planet is literally on fire, you guys. The whole thing. We're all on fire at this very second.
What a shame.
The Honourable Member for Terre. We knew that the January deadline for penalty fee repayment of CEBA loans threatened the survival of our small businesses. We did everything we could to warn the government, but now it's reaping what it sowed. The Office of the Superintendent of Bankruptcy reveals that in January, the number of insolvency rose by 129%. January 2024 was the worst month in the office's 40-year history. We're in the middle of a wave of bankruptcies.
Motherfucker, you are older than almost everyone around you, right?
What is it going to do today to stop the bleeding?
That guy's so old.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The CEBA program supported over 900,000
The CEBA program was a scam.
And we estimate 80% of them.
And there are people who didn't take advantage of it that are being charged for their... I know someone who didn't take advantage of it, but they're being charged like $80,000, even though they didn't take advantage of it because their employees weren't actually working because they were a hairdresser, so they couldn't be open, so they didn't even take CEPA.
So far. As we move away from the pandemic, we're taking serious, concrete action to support small businesses, both by providing funding and by cutting costs, Madam Speaker. We recently finalized agreements to cut credit card fees by up to 27%, which will save small businesses across Canada $1 billion, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
What about individual credit card fees?
Let's talk figures. Already for last year, Equifax recorded a 44% increase in business bankruptcies.
Jesus.
Based on January 2024 data, it'll be worse this year. No one in this House should find this situation acceptable. The government needs to be flexible with businesses. It must talk to them directly and study their files on a case-by-case basis. It can't continue to do nothing while businesses continue to close their doors. When will they finally open their eyes and take responsibility for preventing bankruptcies? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Speaker, and I thank the member opposite for the opportunity to speak on this issue. As we move forward from the pandemic, small businesses have nearly 3 years until the end of 2026 to repay their CEBA loans, and they have access to as low as 5% interest rate.
Oh boy.
Meanwhile, we are investing in communities to strengthen our economy.
And what if somebody has $100,000 in SEPA loan?
Funding to enhance the Indigenous Women's Entrepreneur Program and create an Indigenous Youth Entrepreneurship Program. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The honourable member.
The Indigenous Women's and Indigenous Youth Programs.
Montmagny, Leslie, Kamouraska, Rivière-du-Loup. Madam Speaker, in 8 years, this Liberal government has succeeded in breaking our immigration system, destroying our economy and doubling our national debt. Food has gotten very expensive, but what's even more expensive is voting bloc. Taxes are being taxed.
Taxes are being taxed. Yes. That's what they're for. God, I hate this translator. Ugh.
The bloc can cut tax, but it doesn't want to. What did this Prime Minister promise the bloc to get?
Good. I love that they keep asking this.
The Honourable Minister, Madam Speaker. Once again.
Dude, are you high? I think this translator is high. She always sounds like she's like, Madam Speaker,
and we've heard the Conservative Party is the party of hope and inaction in this chamber, and they're talking about working with Quebecers, and we are talking about working with Quebecers and Canadians to make life more accessible, to increase jobs, to support unions. Madam Speaker, we're here to take action and to help Quebecers and Canadians, but they are only going to look for quarrels. The Honourable Member for Montmagny. People are desperate, Madam Speaker. After 8 years of this Liberal government, the Bloc is still doing everything it can to keep the PM in power. The same Prime Minister...
Is that a random guy or government official that can't speak English? So, this is... Whenever you see this happen, this is a French-speaking official who either can't speak English or chooses not to. Chooses to speak only in French. So we have the translator come in and translate in English. They're usually translating English into French for these people who are now talking.
Who has destroyed our economy, that people across the country are now unable to meet their basic needs. While Canadians are having a hard time feeding themselves, they keep raising taxes. Can the Prime Minister tell us the terms of his contract with the Bloc to save his career? The Honourable Minister.
That's a good question.
Madam Speaker, the first thing we did when we came to power was to reduce taxes on the middle class. The first thing that the Conservatives did was to vote against that. We also set up the CCB, and they voted against that.
You didn't set that up. You renamed it. Holy shit. You did not set up the CCB. You just changed it from the CCTB to the CCB. Oh my God.
If my honourable colleague would like to know more about his riding, I would ask him to visit over 3,000 housing projects in Montmagny, Villars-aux-Évents, amongst others. They were created in his riding. There have been some dozen low-rent projects, and even though they only created 6.
The Honourable Member for St. Albert Edmonton.
Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister was ordered by Parliament to turn over the Arrive scam receipts and to come up with a plan to get taxpayers their money back. What the Prime Minister tabled this week is nothing more than a whitewash. We still don't have the receipts, and they don't have a plan to get taxpayers their money back. So just a number. How much money did these Liberals award fraudsters and scammers, and when will taxpayers get a refund?
They don't know, and never. There, I answered your question for you. They don't know, never.
Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, as I've said said before, in this place, we take these allegations extremely seriously. We expect all contractors in the procurement process and all rules to be followed.
Sure.
Anyone who doesn't follow those rules will come with consequences. CBSA
What
has
consequences?
already put in place several new measures to improve the procurement process. There have been announcements made as well with the Minister of Procurement to ensure that the procurement process throughout
You say
government
procurement
is
a lot.
accountable, and that questionable issues like this don't happen again.
The honourable member for Sudbury.
Speaker, in a world where global cooperation and support for the most vulnerable are more critical than ever, the Leader of the Opposition has proposed cuts to what he calls...
How the hell did Sudbury not get a conservative fucking MP?
...cuts on Canada's security, as well as on our standing as a moral leader globally?
How the fuck did Sudbury not get a conservative MP in it?
Undermine our global role in peace and security and stability, as well as undermine the peace and safety and security of Canadians.
The Conservatives are trying to undermine the peace and security of our reputation globally.
Risks our global reputation. And these proposed cuts would signal a retreat from global leadership at a time when global challenges actually demand that we do more and that we collaborate with other nations. And so, and if he's to make
we
these
can't
dangerous
afford to
cuts
right
that
now.
threaten the peace and security of Canadians, what else is he going to cut? He's simply not worth the risk.
Not at all. The honourable official opposition deputy.
I'll take
leader?
it, Madam Speaker.
Jesus Christ. Fuck. Is everybody just already on vacation? They're just like, the honourable person, you over there, you talk now.
5 years. When is this government going to list the IRGC as the terrorists that they are?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, we obviously recognize and condemn the Iranian government
Madam
as a state
Speaker,
sponsor of
I don't know what you're talking about.
Measures to ban some members of the IRGC or the members of the IRGC
members?
to enter Canada. We have put in place sanctions.
Some members.
Madam Speaker, we will take the advice.
You're gonna sanction the IRGC? Do you think the IRGC gives a fuck? Do you think Iran gives a fuck? That you're sanctioning the
our national
Oh my
security
God.
advisors and officials who make these recommendations, but Madam Speaker, we will do everything to keep Canadians safe.
Official opposition deputy leader.
So they said last year they were working on it. Yesterday, the minister changed the story, saying that his agencies didn't even give him that advice. Today, I don't understand that answer, and neither will Canadians. So which answer is it? Which story? We've got a minister over there who won't condemn the most vile anti-Semitism, another minister who held hands with a literal terrorist. Is there no courage at all again? I'm going to ask one more time. What day will you list the IRGC as the terrorists that they are in this country?
There you go. I like her.
Well, she needs to address all questions and comments through the chair and not directly to the members. The Honourable...
She did. She did. She said, Madam Speaker.
Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As I said before, that we do condemn and acknowledge that the Iranian government is a state sponsor of terrorism, that we have put in place sanctions, robust sanctions. We've used the immigration legislation to ban people from visiting Canada. Madam Speaker, we will continue to listen to the advice of security services, but make no mistake, we recognize the IRGC as a state sponsor of terrorism, and we will do everything to keep Canadians safe.
The Honourable Member for Calgary Heritage.
While the clerical regime brutalizes women in Iran, they export terror abroad. Russia and Ukraine, Houthis in Yemen, Hamas, Hezbollah, Iraqi militia. This week, victims of Hamas atrocities shared their stories. Like the PS752 victims, they are calling on the government to list the IRGC as a terror organization. It's been 5 years. What day? When will these NDP Liberals stand up for victims and list the IRGC?
Literally never.
Madam Speaker, as I've said, we are listening to Canadians and we take this matter very
Then
seriously.
oh my God.
This is precisely why
You're
we're
listening to
using
Canadians,
the immigration
are you?
legislation to ensure that there is a ban from entering Canada.
Where are you
Madam
listening to
Speaker, we will
Canadians?
continue to listen to the advice of security services because we will do
Is she
everything
just
in
a
our power
parrot?
to keep Canadians safe.
Is she a parrot?
Honourable
I
member
swear
for
she's a parrot.
Port Kills.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Canadians expect their governments to take action on climate change and address affordability issues. Putting a price on carbon while sending rebates to Canadians is the most cost-effective way to fight climate change. Affordability is
Who the
front
hell
center
are
in this
you,
system,
and
which
why do you
puts
sound
more
like a
money
news
into
anchor?
the bank accounts of Canadian families. Can the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Environment and Climate Change share with this House how the Canada Carbon Rebate helps Canadians?
Parliamentary Secretary.
Excuse me while I
The Canada
self-fillet.
Carbon Rebate is made possible because we put a price on pollution to lower our emissions and fight climate change. But affordability is front and center in this system, which literally puts more money back into the pockets of 8 out of 10
it's at the
Canadian
center,
families.
is it?
Madam Speaker, Conservatives offer no solutions.
It's at the
and continue to
center
spread
of the inaffordability crisis. You are correct.
misinformation about climate change to Canadians. They want to cut the Canada Carbon Rebate payments that are helping Canadians during these challenging times, and instead they want to help their friends in big industry continue to pollute freely. Madam Speaker, it's clear that the Conservatives don't care about fighting climate change. They want to raise our emissions in Canada, and they do not care about our children's future. Madam Speaker, it's a shame.
Again with the children!
Member for Skeena Bulkley Valley.
What is with the fucking liberals and children? Why are they obsessed with
Madam
children?
Speaker, yesterday I asked the Environment Minister if he would commit to doing what it takes to ensure that weather stations on the BC coast remain up and running this coming winter. These stations, like the Holland Rock Weather Station near Prince Rupert, provide critical, life-saving information for mariners, and the Holland Rock Station hasn't been working since early January.
Oh,
In
God.
his response, the minister said he'll do what he can, but that he's not the finance minister. So, to the finance minister, will she ensure that Environment Canada has the resources they need to keep these critical, life-saving weather stations up and running all winter?
Mr. Speaker, fuck the Mariners.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary, the Minister of Environment and Climate Change.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm glad that my colleague opposite is raising this important issue. It offers me an opportunity to highlight the announcement that we made last week for 32 new state-of-the-art radar stations right across this country. That'll add to the safety of Canadians. It'll provide more reliable weather information.
And what about the radio? What about the station that he just told you about? Is it going to be
These events
fixed?
are likely to happen more and more.
Oh, fuck off! Oh, well, you know, it's climate change, so we're gonna have all these bad weather stations, all this bad weather, and, you know, climate change.
The honourable member from the NDP,
Everything's
and
gotta
I'll
be
work
about
together
climate
with
change.
his office to ensure that that weather station is up and running in due course. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Member for Spadina Fort York.
Madam Speaker, a farmer care deal by the governing coalition makes Canadians again wait for the smoke and mirrors to clear. They've seen a dented dental deal that leaves out the middle class and makes seniors wait to age 87. They've seen numerous carbon tax grabs rake in billions but do little for the environment. And they've seen a childcare strategy eliminate 100,000 spaces. Finally, they've seen a cannabis policy that's actually grown a huge black market.
Yeah, because fucking nobody wants the legal edibles. The black market for edibles now is ridiculous. And if you can literally buy weed online from black market places and have it shipped to you.
Madam Speaker, Canadians aren't fooled by the half schemes of the Liberal government and their NDP buttress. The Emperor has no clothes. Madam Speaker, when will he take his walk on the beach?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. I remember not too long ago that member was begging to be a member of the Liberal caucus. Didn't really work out for him. He's now auditioning to join the other side, and he can. He'll find a place over there where they want to cut childcare, cut dental care, cut pharmacare. A few weeks ago when the
nationally, because none of those things should be national programs.
tabled pharmacare legislation, the leader of the opposition ran away from reporters at a press conference when they asked him about pharmacare. That party does not care about the middle class. They don't care about the vulnerable. We're going to do all these things that Canadians require to ensure success.
You don't care about that either.
And that brings brings us to the end of question period. I do want to ask members, wish members a great time. And
well, like I said, we have got until April the 8th. Well, actually April the 9th, technically, because the question period takes place at 3. So I won't have any canned poly to cover really until the 9th of April. So if you guys see any videos that you think I'll really enjoy covering and you want to see me cover, go to reddit.com/r/blindpress, give that subreddit a follow, and drop those links there for me. I will pull them. I will go check it and pull out whatever I find. I will be back tonight on Twitch only for... I'll be back tonight on Twitch only for Mortal Kombat. And I will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. on YouTube and Twitch for another coffee stream. So I really hope you guys had a fun day today. I am starving. You don't like the fact that he crossed the aisle, so you're gonna mock him? Yes. Exactly. It shows Canadians the truth. Exactly. You're gonna mock somebody for crossing the aisle. That's ridiculous. People have the right to cross the aisle. So that was question period from Friday. I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. I am starving, so I'm gonna go eat. And I will see you guys tonight on Twitch for Mortal Kombat. I'll be back tomorrow for Coffeestream. Have a marvelous rest of your Monday, and I will catch you tonight. Bye, everybody.